Hi everybody, Angel here with confidenceiscatchy.com. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Throwdown Thursday. I can't believe I think we're on week 5 of our 12-week challenge, and I'm so excited for you all to be here. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you who don't know me and are new here, my name is Angel. I'm owner of confidenceiscatchy.com, where we help connect people with information on how to build confidence. So if that's something you need, that's the website to go to. And what we're doing here is a 12-week challenge sponsored by local businesses to help primarily women, but pretty much anybody who needs to gain some confidence in their life or grow their comfort zone a little bit, to do that in a fun and unusual way, and to have some fun together over the course of this summer. So welcome. Some of you will be seeing this on Facebook Live. For those of you tuning in, hello, thank you. Let me know where you're calling, where you're from, and what has brought you here today. And for those of you who see this on the YouTube recreation that I'll put up in about an hour or so, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future videos that come up on the Confidence is Catchy channel. So that's all the good things, you know, the shares and the likes and the comments. That's all helping you get into the raffle. We'll talk about that at the end. Today is our Throwdown Thursday, and every Thursday I pose a new challenge to you guys so that you have something to do over the weekend to grow your comfort zone, and this week is no exception. I am so thrilled to offer you this 3-part challenge. Now, there's 3 parts to this because there's a lot to cover here, so bear with me. And the reason there's a lot to cover is because our sponsor this week is like one of the most amazing women that I know, and I'm so excited that she jumped on board and became a sponsor for today. This is Karen. You see Karen's pretty picture? Isn't she gorgeous? Karen is author of this book, which hopefully is you're seeing it the right way. And that book is a fabulous book for people that have had issues with their mom, and how to become more how do you say, just be able to get along a little bit better in life if you've got one of those. So, find Karen here at Patreon, Karen Anderson, and I will of course, put all these links up for you so you don't have to try to look at it in the video, but I wanted to see her pretty face, because we're going to talk about in this challenge, this 3-part challenge, why we chose this challenge. And Karen and I actually kind of crafted this challenge a little bit around her business, and a little bit about some stuff that she's already doing on her Facebook page, and a little bit about something that I've already done on my Facebook page. And so she and I are kind of on the same journey in a different way. And so Karen's background is she's been a life coach, and she actually has now kind of gone full tilt into writing and creating and allowing herself the liberty, if you will, of just being a creator instead of trying to be a coach. And that's something that was really liberating for her, and we'll talk about that when she and I have her sponsor interview later this weekend. However, this whole challenge comes out of a little bit about her book, the idea of what did your mom teach you about confidence? And so we're going to talk a little bit about these 3 parts to this challenge so that you can understand what we're trying to accomplish. But if you have an opportunity to go to her website, which I will put the link up in a minute, go to her website, check her out, and get a feel for like what she's about. I think you'll get an idea of where this challenge is going, and I'll do my best to explain it as we go along. Now this, like I said, is a 3-part challenge for you. The first is a written exercise. The second is kind of a share and compare exercise. And the third is kind of like a photo journal, okay? So we're kind of adding a couple of elements in. And I'm going to work our way backwards. We're going to talk about the photo journal first because, you know, we all love taking selfies, right? And most of the time when we take a selfie, we're trying to put our best foot forward. We're trying to take a picture that exemplifies, like, the best thing that's going on in our life at that time, or we're trying to make ourselves look really good. And what Karen has been doing on her Facebook page for the last couple of days, and I brought it up on my computer so you can see, is she's actually taking a bunch of selfies and a bunch of pictures of parts of herself in not the best flattering light, right? She's kind of being real about who she is and all of the good and bad with that. And so she's taking this series of photos, and I'm going to try to get you in there, of just like real images. You know, I love this one with her and her fuzzy socks and her cat's looking at her feet, and she's got one with some silly makeup on. She's got 2 different slippers on and the one down here. She's just taking photos like of being real, of being herself. And rather than trying to project this image of, oh my God, I got it all together, she's showing us when she doesn't have it all together and when she doesn't look her best. And so that's kind of the photo journal aspect of this, is I want you to think about, like, just take some pictures over the weekend of yourself when you're not looking 100%. You don't have your makeup on yet. You haven't showered yet. You haven't done your hair. You're still wearing your fuzzy slippers or your ratty old pajamas. Take a couple pictures, because that's part of you too. That is definitely a part of you. And what she's using as the hashtag, and what I would encourage you to do the same, is basically showing up 2018. So this challenge, we're going to call it the Showing Up Unfiltered Challenge, because I want you to take all the filters off. This is not a Snapchat filter type of selfie, okay? This is just you being you when no one's looking, okay? And take a couple of pictures like that and put them up, whether it be on your Facebook page or on the group here. It's safe space, that's fine. Just to remind yourself that we're all real. We don't have to pose all the time. We don't have to pretend. It's just not, we don't have to do that because we are perfect just the way we are. So that's one of the three parts, right? But the other two parts in this Showing Up Unfiltered is to get really intentional and really conscious about where did we get some of these messages from. And because all of Karen's work revolves around the mother in our lives, and that could be literally your mother, it could be a mother figure, stepmother, grandmother, aunt, teacher, anything like that. Any of these mothers in our lives that are relaying information to us when we are essentially a sponge, when we're little, right? We don't really think about, as we're growing up, like, what messages are we getting from people just by being in their presence. But that's what I'm asking you to do today, and that's what Karen encourages people to do when they think about this relationship with their mom, and it's particularly about confidence. So let's talk about that. Part two, or I should say part one of the challenge, I said was going to be a journaling exercise. And this journaling exercise is really to answer a couple of questions. What did your mother teach you about confidence? Either in what she actually said to you, because, sometimes people do impart wisdom, or by example. And sometimes that one's even more critical. How did she show up, right? This is the whole showing up challenge. How did she show up in your life? And it couldn't be a mother figure that wasn't specifically your mother, but just give some thought to that and write some things down. Did her words match her actions? And so, when you're thinking about what did she tell me and what did she do or model for me, were those two things compatible? Or was she telling you, do what I say, not what I do? As so many parents do. I'm guilty. I've done that myself. And if there was a disconnect in those two things, like, where do you think that came from? Think about her life. Think about, how that would have come to be if that were the case. Try to take yourself out of the emotional range of, like, okay, this is my mom or this is my mother figure, and I have an emotional reaction to that. Try to pull yourself out of that and look at it as a casual observer. And just kind of look at, did her actions match what she was telling other people? How did she define confidence? If you asked your mom, what would she say? Just put some thoughts down on paper. What would that look like? And then, do you agree with that definition? Because, you might not. And if you don't, how do you define it if it's different than what your mom would have said or your mother figure would have said? That's a key one. What's different for you? And I know for me, when I start writing this, there's going to be a lot of key differences. And some of that's generational, and some of that's just personality, and some of that's just like, no, I don't want to be like that, right? So there's a little bit of all of those three elements. And then the last one is, if you have a definition of confidence, what would be holding you back from that? What is it about you that holds you back from living up to that definition that you've set for you? And just getting really real about that. Like, what's causing this angst about, living to your fullest or getting to your full potential? What holds you back? Just be real about it. Okay, so that's part one. We talked about part three, which was the photo journal. Now, part two is where we get some friends involved. Now, here's the thing. I have been setting you on journeys here, these little challenges, where I want you to involve other people. I don't want this to be a solo mission. It certainly can be. If you don't want to involve someone else, if this is really personal information for you and you just want to kind of keep it up to yourself and think about it and let it germinate in your head over the weekend, that's fine, I understand. But if there's somebody in your life who, for example, might have known your mother, or might have been in the same household as your mom, or this mother figure that we're talking about, or might have had a completely different perspective on that relationship, I'd be interested in having you compare and contrast and just share and say, hey, I'm doing this challenge and these are the questions and I wondered if you wanted to do it with me. And then I'd like to kind of compare and contrast and see if we come up with the same answers, because I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation. And if that's a sister or a cousin or an aunt or somebody else that's in the family that could, kind of compare and contrast where those messages are coming from, I think you're going to have a really interesting conversation about some of the things that we get told when we're kids, or shown when we're kids, that may or may not hold true later on in life. And if you've been following my video blogs over the past couple of months, especially back in the beginning of the year, we actually talked about this. I did a lot of talking about, what did you get told? What did you get taught when you were younger? That just it doesn't mean anything to you. Like, it meant something to the person who taught it to you or said it to you, but maybe it's just not resonating right in your life and you need to change those preconceived notions up in your head. So I really appreciate you guys sitting down and writing something out, answering those questions about confidence, answering those questions about where did those nuggets of information come from that mother figure in your life, and do they jive with who you are and who you want to be. That's really what we're trying to get to. Share it with somebody that has some input into that part of your life, and then, get real with yourself. Step 3, get real with yourself. Get out your camera when you're in your ratty old pajama clothes on Sunday morning and you haven't brushed your teeth and you haven't done your hair and you're just kind of like, ugh. Take a couple of pictures and just understand that being conscious about loving yourself when you're in that mode is just as important as loving yourself when you're dressed to the nines and ready to go out at night. Okay, so they're two ends of the same spectrum. You got to love yourself on both sides. So we're gonna force you to take a look at that other side of yourself and get real with it. So that's today's challenge. We're going to call that Showing Up Unfiltered. I am going to post some stuff, links to Karen's information, links to her book, so that you can check that out on Amazon. Please do check that out on Amazon. I will put that link up in just a minute. And of course, I'm going to put out all these questions as well, so that you don't have to try to watch the video 10 times to get it. And then you can sit down with a journal, write for half hour, 45 minutes, or even 10 minutes, whatever you can do, and share with a friend or a family member, and then take a couple of pictures, and we'll check back with you on Tuesday, on Takeaway Tuesday, at how it was for you. And if you have any questions or comments, as always, throw them down below in the Facebook live feed or on the YouTube account, and I'll make sure to answer them for you. Of course, you can always message me as well. So thank you so much to Karen for being our sponsor today. And by the way, stepping up at the last minute, because I had somebody that was supposed to do it and wasn't able to. So Karen kind of filled in at the last minute. So she gets the star for fast action yesterday when I sent out the, hey, I got a spot open, and she jumped right in with no hesitation. So good for you, Karen, for taking life by the horns, so to speak. And for those of you who are watching today, definitely go check out what she's doing. Just type in hashtag Showing Up 2018, and I'll bet you find a couple of her pictures. So we'll be talking on Tuesday. See you later. Bye.